Okay, since it's 11, I'm gonna go ahead and then kick off our very first the panel with the Workforce Wednesday. But before we jump in and then asking Stephanie to introduce herself, and then of course the Clarissa joining us today, I would like to give you some housekeeping items. But first, today we're featuring our special guest and also very dear friend Stephanie Garcia. She is the business development specialist with Port San Antonio. We're gonna be talking today about her role, Port San Antonio, her career journey, success story, like pretty much all the good things that hopefully as you are students and then if any alumni in this, the session will be learning, the great stories hopefully today. But it's important for us to go ahead and then jump in here, some reminders. So please, if you are, if there's any, the background noise and anything, so sometimes it's disrupting the conversation. So it will be great if you don't mind to please mute yourself unless you're not speaking. But however, if you have any questions, you can go and then write that on the chat box, or you can again unmute yourself and then ask your questions directly to Stephanie. And also please be aware of that this session will be recording. And then the video will be available on Tamisa May's YouTube channel within hopefully 24 hours. Sometimes it's a technical issue, so please be patient. It could be 48 hours, but promise it's gonna be there in either again today or tomorrow, okay? So we can go ahead and then let me just stop sharing the screen. We can go ahead and then start with introduction. So Stephanie, if you don't mind to introduce yourself for us.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. And Yasir, I just want to thank you for inviting me here today. It was really a huge compliment, and I'm just very excited to be speaking to you and your students. And I hope you find my story interesting, and I welcome any questions that you might have. So thank you again. As Yasir said, my name is Stephanie Garcia. I am the business development specialist for Port San Antonio. I've been in this role now for about 2 years, a little over 2 years. Originally started at the port 4 years ago, and I was in an assistant property management role, which has really been my experience over the last 10 to 12 years, I would say. We had a change in leadership about 2 years ago, and our new CEO, Jim Perschbach, when he kind of took over the reins, he came out to the company and organization and he said, I'd like to hear from you guys. I would like to hear what you like about the company, what you don't like. I want to hear feedback. I want to know everything, which I thought was very welcoming, and he had an open door. So I approached him and I showed him a binder that I had made. It was a customer welcome binder that I had created as one of my goals for the previous year. And in that binder, it had just a lot of information that would be kind of like a Bible for our new customers. Where there was a welcome letter and pretty much everything that they needed to know that was very important, including things that would be in their lease. And that was a tool that I designed, it's been done before, but the way I looked at it was really as a communications tool and something that could potentially avoid a potential miscommunication. And it's just a great way of building and establishing relationships with your customers from the beginning of the relationship. So I showed him that binder, and through a series of conversations, he asked me, he said, I know that you really love your role in property management, but what do you think about possibly going into marketing and communications? And I said, yeah, I would. Absolutely, I would love that. I have a degree in public relations from California State University. And so it's been a while since I had exercised those muscles. Again, I had been working in property management for about 10 years. So it was just truly an honor to be able to do that, and transitioning into that role. It's been very successful. As far as business development, my strategy has been business development through volunteerism. And what I mean by that is I have established relationships with our stakeholders, and I do that by volunteering and taking an interest in their causes and what their visions are, and being able to work with them in an environment as a team and have these experiences and share these experiences with them And I think that that is one way that I've been able to truly create long-term value for my organization in creating these relationships. Aside from that, I am involved in a lot of the event planning that the port does. I am the lead for the Fiesta de los Niños annual fiesta event that Port San Antonio has every year. It brings about 14,000 people to Port San Antonio throughout the day. So I've been involved with planning with that. And then recently I actually was involved with planning or helping to plan the Great Texas Air Show, which unfortunately wasn't to be this year, but hopefully in the next 2 years I can be involved with planning that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
Start. I know that, Port San Antonio is doing really amazing job in, the here in town regarding, being an innovation hub, and then all that amazing partnership, in particular in the South Side. And then you are doing amazing work with them. But of course, like, if I remember correctly, you moved to San Antonio a few years ago. So maybe our students also would like to hear a little bit about your career journey. How, like you said that you studied in California Public Relations, but after that, how was that, the first, maybe the professional career looked like, and then how you decided to move San Antonio and then started working with Port San Antonio, if you don't mind to share.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Well, I actually was born here in San Antonio, but relocated to Southern California when I was 12 years old. So I hope you don't do the math, but I had been there for almost 25 years and then relocated back here in 2014. I'm very close with my family, and my family originally had only wanted to be in California for 2 years, but ended up staying for almost 25. So I relocated, this tough being on your own, at least for me. So I did relocate back, and about 6 months after I came to San Antonio, I was with Transwestern Commercial Real Estate, and I was there in an assistant property management role. And I was there for close to 2 years before I transitioned over to Port San Antonio, again in that assistant property management role that I was at for 2 years. And it's been an amazing journey to transition and to actually go from one career to another, especially after you've been doing something for so long. And it comes with its challenges, but it is very rewarding. So I say if you're ever looking to maybe look into a different career, just take that chance. And if it's something that you really want to do, I think that's pretty much how I got here.
Awesome. I couldn't remember that, you were born here in, the Texas. So amazing. So tell us a little bit about this, the new innovation center. We can see that beautiful picture, on behalf of and I keep hearing really great things on, the LinkedIn about this innovation center. Of course, like, again, all that amazing work. There's too many highlights from your CEO regarding, the providing these services to students. I believe like 20,000 students in San Antonio will be somehow benefiting from this, amazing center. But also, I know that you closely focusing on this one robotics, and then all that about industry for that amazing, artificial intelligence. I know that you're working with Andy, one of our dear friends. Like, tell us a little bit about that amazing, innovation focus that you and then Port SA has.
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked that. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Port San Antonio, but I'll go ahead and give you just a tiny bit of history. We are the old Kelly Air Force Base that's been here for over 100 years. So we've very much long been a center for innovation and technology, just in different ways. So over the past 20 years, we've been redeveloping and repurposing this area for job creation. We want to bring back the jobs that were lost when Kelly closed in 2001. But within the last 2 years, we've really been focused on this vision of connecting people with opportunities, connecting employers with education with industry, and then buyers with sellers. So that's really the vision behind our Innovation Center, which we just got funding for about a month ago. Our board of directors approved the funding for the Innovation Center. And we've been talking about it for 2 years. We're very excited to hopefully break ground. I think it's going to be very soon here. But the center itself is going to bring a lot of opportunity to San Antonio, and there'll be 4 different components to it. The first will be the Museum of Science and Technology, which actually currently stands up here at Port San Antonio. It's about 5,000 square feet right now. It's a preview center that really just shows the history of technology and innovation. And what's really special about it is that it talks about innovation here in San Antonio. I don't know if it's widely known, but the first computer was actually built here in San Antonio. So that's a little bit of trivia if anybody ever asked you that. But pre-COVID, the museum was open on Saturdays to the public from 8 to 5. That will be the focal point of the Innovation Center, because it really, again, it's that education piece, it's that history piece, it's bringing people outside of San Antonio even, which has already happened. There's been groups that have traveled here from Mexico and included SAMSAT, the Museum of Science and Technology, has included that on their tour. But it does attract people, shows the history, and they'll be running a lot of different programs through there, STEM-focused programs, which they already do. Some of these programs are NASA funded, and I know the kids are very, very excited about it, and it's just brought, I believe that they've already serviced about over 100,000 kids, I believe, the last 3 years or so they've been open. So that'll really be the focal point. The second component of it will be a Makerspace, which is really there to inspire collaboration. For an example, it'll be a place where startups can come and build prototypes, and we'll invite different industries, like the medical industry, aerospace industry, which we already have here, cybersecurity, and the different industries can work together and develop these amazing innovations, which is something that's already happening here in San Antonio. The third component will be an industrial showroom. So think building a prototype in the Makerspace and then taking it over to the industrial showroom that's there as something to show off, and possibly a group, let's say the DoD, might walk through there and they might be able to look at these tools and technology that are being developed. And with the DoD, if they're going into an open space, there's the ability for rapid transaction. They can not buy the product right away, but they'll be able to acquire it more quickly. And we can do things in there like host industry days and have different startup competitions. So that's what the industrial component of it will be for. And then the component that everybody wants to talk about is our technology arena, or esports arena. So we're going to be using that for a variety of ways. For one thing, it is another way to attract people and attract talent to San Antonio. There are a lot of employers out there who are looking for individuals that have that gaming acumen, and it's been really important for them. In fact, we do have a customer right now, +1 Robotics, who they hire. In fact, they created an entire new job. They introduced a job position into the industry. It's called a robot crew chief. And so what that robot crew chief is, the couple that they do have over there right now, they have that gaming background because they have those motor skills. They're able to actually advance the technology that +1 Robotics has. So that's just one example of ways that esports is really being introduced into the market. There's a lot of job opportunities for that skill set, not to mention just the types of jobs that are within that industry alone. There's anything from game developers to shoutcasters to the marketing to coordinating tournaments. There's just a variety of different jobs within that industry itself. So it's something to serve for the 99% of people who aren't going to become professional gamers. So that is the esports part of it, but we can also, there's going to be retractable seats in there. So we're going to be using that space for a variety of other different competitions. There'll be cyber patriot competitions in there, robotics competitions, graduations. And then I think there's some talk of some comedy shows or entertainment type concerts. So I'm looking forward to that myself. But that is in a nutshell what our innovation center is. And if there's any questions about that so far, let me know.
I know that we can speak about, Port San Antonio and then how much, Port SA is giving to San Antonio for hours and hours. You do amazing work, but thanks so much for all that information. I didn't know that first computer was built here in San Antonio. I learned that from you now. That's great. And then you highlighted how really, Port SA is giving that opportunity for startups, to join you and then showcase. As you know, that I'm the startup, the lover and then co-founder trying.
Yes, I think that's where we've, outside of leadership class, that was the first place I saw you, at the Tech Block.
Tech Block.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, you're here. That's very cool.
Yeah. And also regarding that esport, I know that we had that conversation. Also, you partnering with our own A&M San Antonio esport coach, Travis Young.
Yes.
So hopefully looking forward to even partnering more on other programs as well. But thanks so much with that, the little nutshell what, Port SA is doing. Okay, so let's jump to the next. I will say that question, but again, as you can say, it's like more conversational, Stephanie. But the COVID-19, of course, like that, has been impacting, all of our lives, right? That social distancing and everything, not maybe visiting with our friends, not hanging out with our loved ones. But like some, the sides, like people say, but wait a second, we, hanging out with our loved ones, maybe more, but in the same home. Right now, I know my wife, my spouse, my partner better, my kids better. I'm learning new things about my family. So
yes.
Regarding the skills, so how did you really upskill yourself and adapted your own skills during COVID?
That's a great question. Just on a personal note, when the stay-at-home work order first came out, and in my capacity in the role that I serve is being out and talking to people in the community and just getting out there. So I was a little bit nervous when that happened, because I just immediately am thinking, how can I add value to my organization when I'm not able to work at my highest capacity, which is really out in the community and talking with people. But I do have this amazing team. They have brilliant ideas. And so what we did was we built an e-resource library. And so the thought behind that was the stay-at-home learning, but we wanted this one to be tech-focused. So it's really niche and it's really special. And how I was able to upskill and participate in that was we invited all of our community partners to participate in do workshops for this website. So it's gone over very well. We've had over 50,000 people at least visit the site or take a class. We have partners like Microsoft, Boeing, the Museum of Science and Technology, Love Marketing, which is a local marketing company that specializes in virtual reality. They've done workshops on there. We've had, and my personal favorite, Plus One Robotics, they did a workshop as well. And I mentioned that because through my job, as I mentioned earlier, I am really just getting, I like to get to know my customers and my community, and it is all about networking, but I see it as networking through a purpose. I really want to establish those meaningful relationships that are mutually beneficial to one another. And so when we decided to build this website, it was just, I have the relationships, I know the people, and I believe I was able to bring, contribute to that site by just bringing in the partners and the people that I already knew. So I hope that's a good example.
Yes, I loved it. And then regarding the network, I mean, I agree with you. We had that conversation several times before, even in, the leadership class or outside, but through LinkedIn, for instance, we're expanding that network. But even like attending, the Tech Block events or anything. For our students, I believe, always I encourage them to do, like, just go ahead, maybe you can Google it or ask, your career advisor or the May Center or whoever, like what's going on in San Antonio. Is because like, you mentioned earlier, San Antonio is getting like really right now a place for entrepreneurs, startups, even like, we're getting these national gamers from outside, or Austin is here just only, 1.5 hours, and Tesla is going to be in Austin. So there is like really amazing. So what's going on here regarding that ecosystem. So like really exciting, and thanks so much. Great example. So I will ask you regarding the skills, is because when we really encourage our students to develop their skills, it's not just technical, but we also focus on the social skills or power skills. There are too many ways. The terminology I believe regarding this, I don't like calling soft skill, but regarding that, what are the skills you think that with COVID, for instance, in your role, let's say as a business, development specialist, that our students should be aware of and then try to develop and then even be the pro? What are those, a few skills?
I think just communication. I think a lot of people forgot about the telephone. You can actually pick it up and talk to people and hear their voice. And I believe that hearing somebody's voice and just having the courage to pick up the telephone, sometimes I think people, it's easy to use modern day communication and just sit through email, but you're not really connecting with the person and understanding what it is that they might be seeking, and just really hear what they're saying. I think it's all about, for me, it's always been about the other person and how can I be helpful and how can I get to know my customer. Whenever I end a meeting, I usually always ask, how can I be helpful? So I think the communication skills are just number one. And then since we can't really see anybody, I would definitely say, things like this, the virtual meetings have just been, a saving grace for a lot of people. And now the expectations are going to be different in the way we do business. So I think that the virtual meetings have been awesome. What else? I would say just keeping in touch with your network. If you're good with social media, I do a lot of posting on social media just to keep Port San Antonio's brand out there and our customers' brand. I'm always promoting our customers and the stories and the successes that they have. And I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely, I believe in that, communication skills will be even, the more and more important with these, like you said, call someone, or even like expanding that network during COVID-19 is because everyone is more helpful nowadays than ever.
Yes, that's true.
Even business development, I know how Port San Antonio, like city of San Antonio, is, for instance, like providing this help to all the small business owners. So that's amazing. For our students as well, I believe flexibility, adaptability, those
yes.
Some other ones as well. So we all trying, right?
I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was something that I wanted to just some advice, something I wanted to recommend is just be flexible and open to change. I think that in pre-COVID, after COVID, I think that is something that's very important in any career that you do.
Awesome. So the next the question, I want to know a little bit about like maybe the challenges you've been facing since the COVID hit us, and then how you really overcame those challenges.
Okay. Well, I think that my only biggest challenge has really always been myself, and just kind of, I've always had that. I believe in myself. I have faith in myself, but there are those times where you doubt yourself, but you don't want to go there. So what I did, and not having this time and the ability to do everything that I would want to do in the day and be out and about, I actually decided to go back to school for my MBA. So I know I just want to make the best of the time. So I'm currently enrolled at St. Mary's University. Don't hold that against me, please. But I just started. So I think it's about just making the most of that time. I mean, look at how quickly, the last 6-7 months have flown by. And I think just being able to look at that and say, wow, look at all this time, what else could I have been doing to not only, improve my skill sets, improve my education, but also, it's just another way to add value to your organization as well. So I just say make the most of your time and learn all that you can. There's a lot of resource out there for you to overcome those challenges. I think once you kind of go into a time where you're not talking to people and you're isolated, you can get a little bit of anxiety from that. And I truly feel that just upping your skill sets, even if it's on your own, in your, on your laptop, in your room, just isolated, you can definitely learn a lot. So I would say, go for it.
Awesome. By the way, congrats on MBA. I know that's exciting. And
thank you.
Is as well. So, okay. So I know that you just, went back to school to do your MBA, like with the COVID, I believe one of the wins, I'm sure that in your life right now, making that decision. But imagine just, 1 second, let's say that you're going back to California, your college years, public relations, you were studying, you said, if you really would like to change, if you had that chance to go back, fly that time, and then what could you really like to change? Like maybe 3 things or even 1, that's fine.
Well, I definitely would have tried to get through school faster. I know life is a journey, but it did take me a few years to actually get my degree. I did spend a lot of time in community college, not a lot of time, but longer than I would have liked to. And I think it was just because I didn't have any goals set up for myself. So when you don't have goals and you don't have a plan of action, that really leaves you open to just kind of going in different places and not really staying focused. So that's one thing. The second thing would be just to apply myself a little better. I was a lot younger then. So just knowing what I know now, I would have applied myself a little bit more and studied a little bit more. And the third thing I would do was just be more confident in myself and the decisions that I was making. I think confidence is very, it's just a great thing to have. And it's something that will help you out through all of your successes, especially when you do face things such as transition and change, which there have been a lot of that in my life, just professionally and personally. I think that building that confidence is key to your success.
Awesome, I love it.
Anything else?
Believe in yourself, be confident, and then have some solid goals.
Yes.
And like set that goals, whatever it looks like. We were having that conversation the other day in one of the classes, I teach, how important is like time management, but to manage your time, you have to know what you're working on. So
yes,
that setting goals and then having some purpose in your life, like it's really important. And of course, like your confidence, it's gonna be motivating you even to be more successful. I loved it. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
So last thing, like really before we jump in Q&As, like any, advice you have for our students, as you know that we are very young and they're located in the south side of, San Antonio. We're growing so fast. Right now we have about like 7,000, I believe 6,500 students. 3 colleges, Arts and Science, College of Business and Education. But what advice do you have for our students to be successful, to be great leaders in the future like yourself?
Oh, thank you so much. I say, honestly, have an open mind, have an open heart, take every opportunity that comes your way. Anything big or small, everything that I am encountered with, I see as an opportunity. Either how can this benefit me, not personally, but how can it benefit my company? How can it benefit my customers? I think everything's an opportunity. I would definitely say, as I did when our CEO came out to the board and our employees and asked for feedback, don't be afraid to walk through an open door. I mean, you really have nothing really have nothing to lose. And I think that just overcoming that fear and just being brave enough to take opportunities like that and talk to people that you don't know, those are all just things that have really helped me be successful. Volunteer, I mentioned that's a big strategy that I use in my my day-to-day work. So volunteer, and yeah, you can do everything. You can do anything you want to do if you believe in yourself, and I truly believe that with all of my heart.
I loved it. Thank you. Regarding these, the volunteerism, definitely it's very important. Here at the May Center, I always, tell you how unique our center is, but literally under one, the roof, it's like one-stop shop for our students, because not just career services, we have civic engagement or community engagement, heavily focusing on the volunteerism. And then we have also experiential learning department. It's like more internships, externships, job shadowing. So thank you so much for, that note, Stephanie. So we're getting some questions. So one of them, so do you predict internships will become more or less important as the work environment? And it's because it's like really changing everything. So what do you think about that?
Do I think are they going to become more important?
Internships.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We have a number of customers on our property right now that they do offer internship programs. And that's anywhere from college internships and +1 Robotics, who I've mentioned a couple of times. They have an internship program right now that it is based on, they do have college students. They have a couple from UTSA, but they also have interns from high school. So they have one from CAST, and I think there might be another one that I can't recall off the top of my head, but our customers have internships program. We have another customer, IP Secure. It's a cybersecurity company. They have an internship program as well. It's just a variety of our customers, and I think that that's going to become very, very important as we're developing San Antonio. And if you have any questions about that at all, Sarah, you can share my contact information, and I'm happy to help anybody who has any more questions about internships, and hopefully I can point somebody in the right direction.
Thanks so much. Awesome. Definitely, it will be great to maybe sit down again to see how we can collaborate and partner on some, could be like the volunteer work, could be, the internships. But thanks so much, Stefan. Definitely, I'm going to be sharing your info with our students. And then again, really great information you're sharing. So Clarissa, so as you know, our Associate Director of Career Services, she said that definitely volunteerism is a wonderful way to not only explore career direction, but also to build some great skills, which you mentioned.
Yes.
So Clarissa is asking, business development is such a unique field. Yes.
Yes.
What's your favorite win? Also, if a student is interested in business development, what advice will you have for them to further explore that?
Okay. So the first question was, what was my biggest win in business development? Yeah. And I have to say, one of the things that I'm most proud of is my involvement with the robotics community. I know you guys will be surprised to know that I'm not a roboticist or I'm not an engineer, but I know them, and and I'll just tell you a quick story. About 2 years ago, there was a robotics meetup. So I went over it was being held at the Museum of Science and Technology. So I went over there with a couple of folks from our leadership team. Just because, again, I want to see everything. I'm curious. And I want to know who my stakeholders are, what my surroundings are, and truly just get to know people. So I went and I walked in the room, and there was about 100 folks in there. And it was the first meetup that they were having. And Sean Edwards, who's the CTO for +1 Robotics, he founded the group. So prior to the first presentation, he came out to everyone and said, I want to build a steering committee, and I want a diverse steering committee. And so he had different roles that he wanted, but he wanted to have a sustainable group. One of the roles was for marketing and communications. And Sean at the time was my customer, but I had never met him before. So through my networks, I reached out to one of our other customers in robotics who knew him and said, hey, can I get an introduction to Sean, I think I'm, really interested in possibly working with them. And when I did that, it was really nothing more than wanting to be helpful to our customer. There really wasn't anything else behind it, but it's really it's been truly rewarding to work with people that are so smart and they're doing these amazing things. And imagine my intimidation when I walk into Mad Hatter's coffee shop and sit down with 5 roboticists, and then there's me. But it's worked out really well. We've had a very successful 2 years. So we were able to keep and have a sustainable group. We've had meetups every other month until, of course, COVID struck. And our group has grown from, I think it was 75 people that were initially in that meetup to now there's close to 400. So not all 400 people come to the meetups, but it's nice to know that people are interested in the work that we're doing and interested that robotics, that San Antonio actually is becoming a center for robotics. So that's another thing that Sean had a vision of. And we are having our first virtual robotics meetup next week. I can share that information with you, Yasir, if you want to promote that within your community. Yes, but we will be, Zenex Disinfection Services is going to be our presenter. So if you haven't heard of them, they have a corona killing robot. It's called the Light Strike and Strike Force. So this robot, which was developed here in San Antonio, it's been proven that it can kill the coronavirus within 2 minutes. And so they've given us a presentation before last summer, but that was well before we knew what was going to happen, what was in the future. And now to see them really flourishing, they're a startup out of San Antonio. It's just, it really goes to show, the things that we've been talking about is that there is innovation here and technology, and those are the things that we need to start talking about when we talk about San Antonio. And so just having that success with that group was just a huge win for me. So it's nice to be able to get a robot arm or for an event if you need one. So it's been very rewarding.
Awesome. It's a very fulfilling job, but at the same time, it's very fun, Stephanie. So yeah,
I'm not going to sugar. It's fun. I'm having fun with it.
Yeah. So second part of the the question, I'm sure that the students right now listening to you, or once we share the YouTube, hopefully it's gonna be the open to all the Jaguar community. It's gonna be more and more people will be watching this recording. Some of the students, if they're interested in the business development specifically, so what advice will you have for them?
I would say be outgoing, be creative in your thinking, be solutions oriented, be able to establish those connections, those meaningful connections with your customers, whether again your customers, your internal folks, the people that you work with. I mean, really everything. Just upskill your ambassador skills, I would say. And I know that you don't like saying soft skills, but but I think that is that soft skills are truly, they're becoming more and more important to a lot of different industries. And so I've heard, but I think it's very important within this role. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And we have another question. It's about your website. If you have all that, the information and then resources you talk about, even like some maybe the job opportunities on a PortSA, website. Do you
Absolutely. And there was a couple of things I wanted to leave you with today. And one of them was, as you mentioned, we do have a jobs portal on our website. And so we will share the information with you, but it's just Port San Antonio /jobs. And we keep that database up to date, and it has all of the current job postings that our customers are looking for. And what's exciting is that we have over 200 jobs currently posted on that site. And a lot of these employers are also the employers that are probably seeking internships. So they're just customers that you definitely want to get to know. And what I mean by that is follow them on social media. You can follow us on social media because we talk about our customers a lot as well. So that is that's one resource I wanted to definitely offer you guys today. And then the second would be our e-resource library that I mentioned earlier that we built over, over the COVID. I mean, we're going to maintain that website in perpetuity, but that has a lot of different educational resources on there from K through 12. There's also professional development courses that you can take on there as well. So I think that's also another great resource, especially, you know, again, when you talk about things that you can do to occupy your time in the COVID era.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Do we have any other questions on, I'm looking at on the chat box, you know, I cannot see, but before closing, I would like to share my screen back again. So just two reminders at the moment, if any more questions, we can go ahead and then, okay, awesome. We can go ahead and then ask Stephanie, but let me share my screen back again. Okay. So this is important, is because like we really would like our students to, you know, to mark their attendance. So please go ahead and then either you can, once we share the video right now, you can scan the QR or you can go to bit.ly and then it's gonna be, you know, the link will be available for next 72 hours for either experience transcript or just to show that, you know, the attendance is very important for us, you know, the assessment wise as well. And then the other thing, of course, like the May Center, we love social media and then we're trying our best to be, you know, the really engaging with our stakeholders. So you can go ahead and connect with us on, you know, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. And then we use @Tamisha for those as well. But let me look at again if we have any questions. So we can go back to Stephanie back. Okay, so everyone is thanking to you, Stephanie, and then that was like really, really great conversation. Again, thank you so much for joining us, but any last minute thoughts or?
No, I just, you know, the pleasure was all mine, really. It's just a huge compliment to me, and I was just really excited and looking forward to talking with you guys today, and I hope I was helpful. I'm happy to talk with anybody who would like to know more about the port or who just wants to expand their network. I love connecting people with each other. It goes back to our vision of connecting people with opportunities. I am all about that. So please let me know how I can help. Awesome.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. And then I would like to really send my special thanks to our Associate Director of Career Service, Clarissa Tejeda, is because this is really her project. She's amazing. She's a great mentor. So she just brought these Workforce Wednesday, you know, initiative into life. And then she's right now sharing even, you know, the future Workforce Wednesdays, you know, the sessions. So it's going to be the CPS on September 30th. But thank you, Clarissa. Again, thank you so much, Stephanie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
For Portese, what you all are doing in San Antonio regarding the ecosystem and all that innovation. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.